Are you menopausal and already stressed out about who you're going to see over Christmas because of all the weight that you have gained since hitting menopause and nothing fits you anymore? You feel like you're bursting out of your clothes and it just makes you feel really, really physically anxious to be out socializing and seeing people. In fact, I remember how I felt when I'd gained 30 pounds. So if you've never seen my story before or heard my story before, my name is Donna Young. I'm just a normal 47-year-old woman from Manchester in the UK. And one of the things that I felt when I was my heaviest was socially anxious, i.e., I didn't want my photograph taken. I didn't want to bump into people I knew. I didn't want to go out. I didn't want to see people. And actually, a lot of that was because nothing fitted me. I didn't have any nice clothes that fitted me or that I felt comfortable in. I know this is so common because it's interesting. I actually had a chat with a friend who we're quite close friends and we're really quite open with each other about how we feel. And she was exactly the same. She hid away socially when she was going through her worst part of menopause. And a lot of women are the same. A lot of women turn into a little bit reclusive because they just don't feel very good. And when you don't feel good in your own skin, that affects your confidence, it affects your self-esteem, and it affects, I don't know, I think the only way I could describe how I felt, and it sounds, when I think back now, it sounds really ridiculous. I was ashamed. I was ashamed of what people would think of me, because all of a sudden I was this woman who was bursting out of everything. And if your clothes don't fit you very well, it makes you feel bigger. If you're carrying belly fat, it doesn't matter what dress size you are. If you are carrying belly fat, you feel huge. And if you are feeling bloated, you feel huge. And I was ashamed. I was ashamed about being in menopause. I was grieving. I was like, I'm too young. What is happening to me? I kind of went into this huge. I'm going to describe it, I think, in the kindest possible way I can, because, it is a shock and it is a transition. I was almost traumatized by that news and confirmation, and I was resentful that why I was going into menopause so young. And you think, and we all think, and I'm going a little bit off piste here, but it's true. I don't think anybody's quite prepared for it because everybody experiences it differently. So it doesn't matter how much you hear what women are going through. A little bit of you thinks that won't happen to me. And, I was quite lucky in the sense of, I'm just going to put my phone here. I was quite lucky in the sense that I think a lot of my perimenopausal phase happened when I had the coil in. So I got that confirmation I was in menopause when I went to the doctor, because I'd had the coil out 6 months before and I'd not had any single show of anything to do with my period. But equally, I was experiencing symptoms of menopause. I was experiencing it. So I could easily go to her and say, this is what I'm experiencing. And I listed all my symptoms: the tiredness and the exhaustion, the brain fog, the forgetfulness, the soreness, the itchiness. My hair was getting really super thin. What else? Low mood, low libido, everything, all the things, the crazy symptoms. And obviously not having had a show after having had my coil out 6 months before, that was kind of a clue. And so when she did the blood test and it came back, I don't know, I think we kind of think, if I know, then I'll feel better. But actually for me, I didn't feel better knowing. I felt worse. I went into a cycle of grief. And then when I started the HRT, it sent me into a state of like I felt like my body was under attack. I didn't recognize myself anymore. The sugar cravings were like through the roof, through the roof. I actually binge ate sugar before bed. So I would wait for everybody to go upstairs, and then I would be, the little chocolate chip brioche fingers. They get them in the supermarket, you can get them. I used to buy them for my son, and I used to layer them thick with proper butter and shovel 2 or 3 of them in my mouth before bed. And then I would hate myself. I'd be disgusted with myself. I'd have headaches, belly bloat like you wouldn't believe. And all of this anxiety of how I felt about myself, about being in menopause, about feeling like I'm not really good enough anymore, not feeling attractive, not feeling love, not loving myself, not feeling loved, paranoia, all of that led to me not wanting to socialize. And Christmas was the hardest time at all because it's all socializing, isn't it? And I would get invited out to all places and I would say no. And so I guess what I'm saying to you is if that's you and you are feeling anxious about seeing people at Christmas and socializing, I want you to know that a lot of women experience exactly the same symptoms, exactly the same feelings, and it's okay. But what I also would say is I look back now on that withdrawal and I realise that nobody would have thought anything about that. They would see that struggle and support me and love me no matter what. But we don't always think that at the time. So what did I do after that Christmas? I had the Christmas 2022 and by the Christmas of 2023. So I struggled like the whole of 2022. I struggled with my weight gain, balancing the HRT and this confirmation of being in menopause. 2023, I came out into 2023 determined not to see Christmas 2023 in that way. And I went on a mission, but not until the spring. I only reached my enough is enough point at the spring. And then I made those changes that saw me from the end of August in 2023. This is how long it can take you to get to that zone of I've had enough. And that's how I felt. It took me over almost 2 years of struggling, being 30 pounds heavier, and for me to absolutely get myself together and say, that is it. And in the spring, I started doing things, but it was all wrong. And it was only when I did like a deep dive into my nutrition that I realised I'd been doing everything wrong to get the result I wanted. And I realised that eating for menopause was not going to help me lose the dress sizes. So I designed, when I figured out the secret, what needs to be done for menopausal women, not discounting any other women, but for me in menopause, when I figured out what it is I needed to do to lose the fat and drop the dress sizes, I knew I had to share it with all the menopausal women that were struggling. And that's when I designed my 5-day challenge. And I just want to reach out to you, if you've watched this all the way to the end, the woman that's struggling with social anxiety, which is attached to the way she looks and feels. I can help you, and I can help you get your body back, get back in control of your body, and actually rediscover the beautiful, glorious you, and get back into those clothes and feel amazing. You don't have to struggle by yourself. So if you would like some help, if you would like to talk to me, you can literally like this video, drop me a follow, comment 5-day challenge, and I will send you a message, or you can just direct message me and I will be there to chat to you and talk you through what sort of support I can offer. But don't struggle. There is light at the end of the tunnel and you can get this under control.